For most of human history, the living world had a uniform sound. Not music, exactly. Something older. The low thunder of cathedral bells rolled across stone cities. Bronze vibrations twisted past cobbled streets, over thatched roofs, through stuccoed walls, into the very bones of the people who lived there. A bell sat at a throne of humanity, dictating all that we did and were. Bells not only told us when to wake, sleep, and eat. Bells were the spirit of humanity itself. Every morning and every evening, a bell was struck to mark births, deaths, wars, prayer. Then, in the 20th century, bells started disappearing. Across Europe, governments climbed into church towers and tore them down. Thousands of them. The bronze was melted into artillery, bullets, and weapons for war. Entire towns that had rung with the same resonance for centuries suddenly went quiet. And after that silence spread across the continent, something else changed. The entire world agreed to tune music to a single pitch, 440 hertz. A tiny shift, barely noticeable, just 8 vibrations higher than the tuning some musicians preferred. But what if humanity was detuned? What if that change wasn't innocent? Before radios, before record labels, before global standards, music vibrated at a frequency closer to 432 hertz, a number that also appears mysteriously in ancient cosmology, sacred architecture, and the mathematical ratios of the universe itself. A frequency they call the God frequency. This frequency is said to resonate with the human body, with the heartbeat, with the earth itself. And when the world standardized music to 440 hertz, we didn't just change tuning, we changed consciousness. Today on Let's Get Haunted, we're asking, did ancient civilizations understand a hidden frequency of reality? Why did the modern world suddenly standardize music? And could the songs playing in your headphones right now be subtly shaping your brain? Because if the universe really does have a natural vibration, the most unsettling question isn't whether it exists. It's why we might have stopped listening to it.
Welcome back to Let's Get Haunted with your hosts,
Nat Strawn
and Allie.
Welcome back to Let's Get Haunted, everybody. This is episode 252 in season 8 of our Dear Lord and Savior Bingus the Cat. And today we are joined by a very special guest. And I'm knowing that everybody probably already knows who this is, but just in case you don't, Kaydra Brannan is the creator and host of Perplexity, a mystery podcast, a show that covers true crime, paranormal, cults, and weird history. It's available anywhere you can listen to a podcast, including YouTube, Spotify, and Apple Podcasts. The podcast explores topics ranging from historical mysteries to modern-day unexplained cases. Ooh. She is also active on social media at Perplexity Mystery Podcast. Welcome to the show, Kaydra. I hope I got all of that right because I literally just entered your name into the Google and saw what it spat out.
I love it. I really wasn't sure what to expect because Nat was like, I'm going to give you an intro based on what Google says. And I was like, I don't know what Google says. But that was 100% correct. It was very good.
Your
Way to go,
Google
Google.
reputation is great, honestly. That's good, you know? That's good.
I
You
love
did
that
good.
you're also like already gassing me up. Like everybody knows who this person is, but I'm very happy to be here. I was telling Allie this is like a full circle moment. I was telling her how I found you guys years ago because we both did the Dawdleston messages.
Oh.
Yeah.
And then I was filling
Wow.
Kaydra in about some of the Dawdleston
The
drama
drama.
before you logged on, Nat, which there's really no time to explain.
explain.
No time to explain.
No time to explain, guys. I had no idea there was Dawdleston drama, but here we are.
Oh, Debbie's not a fan. What can you do? What can you do?
What can you do?
Look,
She's being
we
a Debbie Downer.
That's so true. And also we call it like we see it, okay? Seems like there was a sex dream, seems like Ken was 30 years old dating a teenager. What can you do? Those are just facts.
Yeah, at
I
that
mean,
point, it's just the truth.
journalistic.
Nat, thank you so much for introducing our guest, Kaydra. I am so excited to be doing this collaboration, and it is very long overdue. Those of you who've listened to our show for a while now, or at least since last year, may remember Kaydra because we did a collaboration for Halloween last year, which was very, very exciting for us. That was the first time we'd ever tried anything like that. Such a good idea. Kudos to you for putting that together, Kaydra. I'm sure that was a fucking nightmare to try to coordinate that many different shows that are all on different schedules with different personalities, but it turned out beautifully. Now, I just listened to that hook, and that hook is something. It's really something. You know what it's reminding me of? Those compilations on YouTube where if you're trying to study, you know, like lo-fi beats for studying or 245 hertz for ADHD, this will cure you. You don't need your Adderall. Like those get served to me very frequently through our shared algorithm because Nat and I share a YouTube account. So our algorithm is just so fucked up. But that's what it's kind of making me think. But I don't know, Kaydra, do you?
To those?
I do enjoy some of them. It's like a white noise, you know, like I'll put on some of them. But yeah, I don't know. I don't know a lot about music in terms of the technical aspect of it. Kaydra, do you play any instruments? Do you understand any of the technicalities of music?
So I considered minoring in music theory, but I did not. So my knowledge is limited. I do sing and play guitar, but I am
Oh my God.
in my day
A
job.
professional.
I am a voice therapist. I do like speech pathology. So when you were talking about hertz and like sound levels, I was like, oh, this is going to be interesting. But I had no idea that we play music at a different sound level now.
You are the perfect person to have on this episode. Oh my God. Wow. Did I do that with my psychic powers? You guys, my psychic powers, since I've fully embraced the cat spire thing. There's no time to explain. Okay. We did an episode on Tartaria. I went down a rabbit hole. I didn't return. Now I'm psychic and I have unlimited free energy. So I don't know, guys. I don't know. But I'm so glad we have you for this episode because honestly, some of this was just like, sure, dude, like whatever. You say that the music changed and it fucked everything up. Like, I believe you. But now Kaydra can actually maybe like provide some insight into this.
Maybe we'll see. It also made me think of, I was just getting into a bit of an argument with someone the other day, and I've had this argument a couple times. So like I have an ear that's pretty well tuned to pitch, but not, I guess, to like the difference between a song on Spotify and a song on Apple Music. But I know some people hear a very big difference. Have you heard this before?
I
Some
have,
people
but I
are just
don't
out
know
here
which is better. Do you know which one is
operating
better?
with the sixth sense for music. That's crazy. Okay.
Yeah, allegedly Apple Music is better because Spotify has more compressed audio, but I literally can't hear a difference. I've had
I
multiple
don't
people
hear a
tell me
difference
that.
either. Wow.
So that's another thing it made me think of. But yeah, this is going to be very interesting. I'm also wondering if this could partially explain why the universe is so fucked right now.
Yeah.
So yeah,
God.
if you wanted to go crazy, which we are, let's just get
Absolutely.
into it because we're gonna end up right there. It's gonna be a full circle moment. You guys just watch. I have a little treat for you. Now, if you liked that hook, you're gonna love
Part 1. The tuning. Before orchestras filled concert halls and algorithms decided what we listened to, music had a much looser relationship with pitch. There was no universal tuning standard. Before 1711, there was not really a way to measure it. No tuning forks existed. Every instrument was tuned actually to the largest instrument in town, which was usually a church organ. So pitch would drift across regions and centuries and towns just like an accent. You might go see or listen to your favorite hymn at a church somewhere in Germany and then listen to the same hymn somewhere in France, and it might sound very different because of the difference in pitch. And it's actually quite crazy because a piano, like for my non-musicians out there, imagine pressing a key on a piano and then pressing the exact same key on a piano and those playing two different notes, because one is tuned like middle C would be somewhere on the chart, and then one middle C would be somewhere else on the chart. So the whole song is going to sound a bit different. And organs, church organs in Germany at around this time sat at about 430 to 435 hertz. Baroque ensembles sometimes tuned even lower than that. So pitch also was made to complement the building you were in. So say you were in a stone building, you would just tune it until it sounded right. And depending on like what materials were around you, how big this space was, whether you had mountains surrounding you or you were by a river, your instruments might be tuned completely different. And then on top of that, so we've got the orchestra or the musicians tuning themselves to the church organ. The choir tunes themselves to the church organ, and then the bells. The bells are also tuning. So until the year 1814, the Congress of Vienna decided that there would become a standard pitch. And the reason was a couple of reasons. One was because, like I said, pitch drifted across regions. So sometimes people would hear instruments or hear a song played higher and be like, actually, that sounds better. Actually, I'm really happy right now, and I don't know why. Like, this is like a merry and cheerful. I mean, I guess if you think about it, like hymns in church that are like, you're going to die and go to hell unless you are a good person. Like, when that's played really low, that kind of sounds ominous and scary. But like, when it's played up high, like maybe that sounds like optimistic. I'm like, yeah, like I am a good person, you know, like that hell part is not that relevant right now because I am good, you know?
Yeah, very relatable. I'm thinking back to church songs that I would hear growing up. And in like the Baptist world, it was a lot more positive, I would say. I'm not religious anymore. But in like Catholicism, some of the songs have more of like a dissonance and like a harmony that can be really beautiful, or it can be a little bit more like intense.
Catholicism is the most metal of all denominations of Christianity, for sure.
We do, Stan.
Rock on.
Hey guys, it's Nat. Can we just talk about how I literally got my hair done 2 days ago? So I've slept on this hair 2 times. And look how good it still looks. Like, this is beautiful salon quality hair after 2 sleeps. What's my secret? It's a BLISSY silk pillowcase. I take all of my hair, I twist it up into a bun on top of my head, just like this, and then I go to sleep. And I wake up with beautiful hair. Slay. Since I've been using my BLISSY silk pillowcase, I've been waking up with less frizz and less breakage. Not to mention, it's amazing for your skin. That's right, sleeping on a BLISSY silk pillowcase reduces fine lines, wrinkles, and sleep creases, and it also helps prevent breakouts. That's because silk is natural and cooling and more gentle on skin and hair than traditional cotton pillowcases. And BLISSY silk is 6A grade 100% pure mulberry silk. That means it's going to be breathable, hydrating, and hypoallergenic, dermatologist tested and recommended. And I love that these silk pillowcases are fully machine washable. They have over 100 colors, like new Wicked and Harry Potter designs, and their Zodiac collection. Over 3 million have been sold. They've been featured in Vogue, Oprah Daily,
Good Morning America, and won over 13 awards. They're perfect for birthdays, bridal showers, anniversaries, and more. You can also get matching sleep masks, bonnets, and crease-preventing scrunchies. Once you go to BLISSY, you're never gonna go back. That is how much of a difference this makes in your daily beauty routine. Also, my husband loves it. I had to get one for him because he kept stealing mine. And now we're both flawless. Because you're a listener, BLISSY is offering 60 nights risk-free plus an additional 30% off when you shop at blissy.com/LGHpod. That's BLISSY.com/LGHpod and use code LGHpod to get an additional 30% off. Your skin and hair will thank you. In 1814, there was the Congress of Vienna, and this was a landmark diplomatic conference that reorganized Europe after Napoleon's defeat, which established a conservative long-term peace via a balance of power. It was led by Austrian Chancellor Clemens von Metternich, and it restored monarchies and redrew borders, reducing France to its 1792 limits. I'm going to show you guys some pictures. Here we have a piece of media that is showing you the Congress of Vienna as it was at the time. Would anyone like to explain this to some people who perhaps are visually impaired?
I can do my best.
Do it.
Okay,
Go for it.
so it's a sepia-toned photo, and there is you can tell it's like an elaborate room, maybe like a ballroom of some kind, or where you'd have like a grand meeting. And I just see a lot of older white men in like colonial style clothing. It looks like they're having somewhat of a formal meeting, and there's a very fancy painting on the wall. I'm also intrigued by the frame around the picture.
Mm-hmm.
They look like coins from all over, ancient coins maybe.
It was basically, my point is this was a big deal. I mean, you got a bunch of rich dudes, they're all in their tights, they've got swords and shit, and they're all like, they just went through a period of crazy fighting, and essentially there was a dictator in France, and crazy stuff was happening, and now that's over, and they're redrawing borders, and they're changing everything, and so this was, you know, a big deal. So because it was such a big deal, during the proceedings, Tsar Alexander of Russia gifted a set of musical instruments to a regiment that was in the Austrian army as like an olive branch, essentially, a show of good faith. And all of those instruments were tuned much higher than what most European ears at the time were used to. For reference, most instruments at that time were tuned so that A above middle C was at roughly 424 hertz, but the Alexander instruments were around 440 hertz. As a result, they had a, quote, sharper and brighter sound. Imagine a time where, like, there's no electronics. Like, you don't really hear sounds that aren't natural unless it is an instrument. And so if you had never heard something played at, like, a high pitch before, it would be almost a spiritual experience.
Right.
Oh,
That makes
for sure.
sense. Yeah, definitely more supernaturally inspired. When I was growing up and would go, this is like a joke me and some of my friends make. When I was growing up and would go to church, it was always like, oh my gosh, the spirit is moving me, this song, blah, blah, blah. And then I realized I just really like music.
Yeah. Oh, for sure. For sure. Yeah, but it is kind of crazy to think about, though, when people didn't have, like, you didn't have iPods, which are now irrelevant, but like you didn't have iPods, you didn't have headphones, you didn't have Spotify or Apple Music, you didn't have any of that. And so the only time, unless you played an instrument, the only opportunity you would have to hear an instrument would be to go to a concert hall or an orchestra and listen to it. And I bet you people got so drunk and like pre-gamed for it. And yeah, they probably did have spiritual experiences because it was so rare.
Yeah. Yeah. And it was specific to your community too. Like, you knew that the song you were hearing in the church at that time was never going to be replicated anywhere else ever again, because it was just like live music, you know? Okay, this is a painting of Tsar Alexander of Russia. He is the guy that got these instruments. He really set off a trend. People then started trying to have, oh, who can have the highest pitched orchestra? Who can make the sounds that are the most heavenly? And it wasn't everybody, because not all instruments could go that high. Not all instruments could be tuned that high. But then it became kind of a competition, and people started making instruments that could go higher, tuning their instruments higher and higher. And it started becoming a problem because the singers at the time were straining to sing that high. Like, the natural singing voice of most people is not way up there at 440 hertz or whatever it is. So people were starting to get strained.
And they're like, everybody's getting tinnitus. This is so weird. Why is this happening?
Or maybe tinnitus. Maybe having tinnitus was a spiritual experience. You're like, oh, thank God I have tinnitus, so I can hear that beautiful ringing bell noise again 24/7.
I'm enlightened.
I hear bells of God like 24/7. Yes. Okay, I just wanted to point out this picture because this was, look, as an artist, this stuck out to me. The camel toe situation. I was just thinking, this is like a prominent fold on this man's crotch, almost to the point where you're like, where is his dick print? And then you're like, well, they can't put a dick print in the painting because that's, absurd and distracting and rude. I don't know what the choice is. Like, do they have to show that, like, I don't know, this looks like a tucked situation or something. I don't know what's going on here. Yeah.
He's like Ken dolling it for sure.
For our blind listeners, I'll go ahead and describe this to you, although Nat already did a very vivid description of what this looks like. But the rest of the painting is pretty innocuous. The background looks like maybe stormy skies. Looks like maybe he's standing on, I don't know, some sort of brown bluff. And then he's got these high black boots on. He's got white pants that are unfortunately showing more than I think he would like. And he's got little frilly things on his shoulders, and he's got a sash like a prom queen. He is serving something. I do think it does look like a tuck situation for sure. But how would you feel if you got your painting back and it looked like that? These were really rich people. Wouldn't you just say, if you didn't like it, wouldn't you just be like, paint over that?
I don't know why, like, my psychic abilities are telling me that the Tsar of Russia told the painter to do this. It was like, no, give me some fat fucking pussy lips on my painting. Right? Because, like, why else would it be there?
I mean, it's a fair question.
It's
I don't
also,
know.
at least in this, it is like perfectly in the center of the shot.
Your eye goes there first. Definitely.
Yeah, you're right. If you divide this painting up into the rule of thirds, literally in the direct bullseye fucking center of this painting is this man's genitals. Is this like a Taylor Swift Easter egg he was leaving of like, yes, the center of my life. I actually had a portal between my legs, and like, if you tune the instruments to the highest level, you open up the frequency of God, and that's how I became like someone who transcended genitalia. Or am I looking too far into it?
It could be.
Hey,
look, I don't know.
Be. Yeah. Listen, I don't know. Yeah. What do I know?
I think that makes as much sense as anything for why he would have had that be the focal point of his painting. Unless maybe people were really into balls and not penises during that era.
I feel like right now, this is like a really dick and balls time in society's life. Like, I know this because I recently made a predictions slideshow for our Patreon, and I was trying to put spires in there, and I was thinking it would be funny to like have a meme of like an inappropriate photo, and so I was like looking for like dick print meme, like thinking there would be a funny meme, like, I don't know, like something that's not like triple X rated, right? And I entered that in on Google, like dick print meme, and it was NC-17, like immediately filling up my computer. And I was thinking, like, wow, the internet didn't used to be like this. Like, I feel like we didn't just like put this on display. Or maybe my algorithm has just changed recently because I've been typing in dick print memes. I don't know.
Sorry,
Okay.
I don't know if y'all could hear that. My neighbors, I think we're stomping or something, so sorry.
Oh, I didn't hear it. No,
okay,
you're good.
I heard like boom, boom, boom. I was like, oh shit. Okay.
Okay, if we heard it, actually, Ryan, you can just take me like talking about a very dick and balls time in our life out. Like, I don't
take
think
it out.
people-
Take it.
Yeah, I don't think people need to hear that. Okay, so government started stepping in because people were like, oh my god, I can't sing that high. Like, this is vocal torture, which, Kaydra, you're a vocal therapist. Is that true?
Yeah, it definitely can be. The main thing is technique. The biggest issue is people singing from their throat and not from their diaphragm. So there can be a lot of tension and then like throat resonance instead of bringing the sound forward. And when you sing in a higher pitch, your vocal cords have to vibrate a lot faster.
Interesting.
But would you say it's torture? Like, is it the same as like soaking someone in gasoline and like setting them on fire? Like,
yeah,
is it
I would
that
say
level?
torture. Torture's a little dramatic for sure.
But it is uncomfortable and perhaps could end your singing career early.
No, definitely. That's what I see people for is like voice disorders. And I get a fair amount of singers who don't use great techniques.
Is that when you get the nodules on your vocal cords?
Yeah, you can get nodules, or like a big one too is muscle tension dysphonia, where like the muscles around your vocal cords get really tense from straining your voice.
It also would be, torture, I agree, that's like over the top. But when you think about it, your voice is such an integral part of who you are that if you damaged your vocal cords and your voice sounded different and you just woke up with a different voice, that would be incredibly jarring and scary. And it would probably take a while for you to feel like yourself again with your new normal. So yeah, I could see why a government would then step in and be like, hey, this is creating a lot of hardship on our singing population, and so we need to fix this because our only form of entertainment is the choir or the orchestra or whatever it is.
Okay, Alyssa's been compromised, you guys. We can't trust anything she says the rest of this episode. Okay, so in 1859, France introduced the first official tuning standard. It was A at 435 hertz, and it spread across Europe. But then, decades later, in 1939, something shifted again. There was an international meeting organized by the International Organization for Standardization's predecessor committees and the British Standards Institution that recommended a global musical tuning standards where A would be 440 hertz. And then eventually, even later in 1955, the International Organization for Standardization cemented it globally. So they said that the main reason for this was technology. Radio broadcasting was expanding, orchestras were starting to tour internationally, and recordings needed consistent pitch. So without a standard, these instruments were recorded in one country and they would sound out of tune when they played with other people somewhere else. So the conference recommended 440 hertz as a practical compromise. Okay, now we're going to watch a little video here that is going to play this tune. Hold on. Oh my God, did I lose the fucking incognito window again? I'm literally so close to just ending it. Okay, no, it's here. I was like gonna log off and be like, podcast is done. We're done.
Episode's over. Hope you all enjoyed.
This is the last episode, everybody.
Yeah. We upload it anyway. Can you imagine? We just upload 30 minutes and then a 20-second crash out.
I'm like, I was here too. Hi, guys.
That is so amazing. Okay, we're going to listen to the 440 hertz tuning fork, guys. So get ready. Here we go.
Jesus.
Just let it seep into. Kind of sound like it kind of reminds me of like a tornado siren.
Yeah, I feel like I have tinnitus. It's like making me anxious.
Or like dial-up internet.
It's bad, right?
Yeah.
I don't like it. We should not ever do that again. Oh my
I feel
God.
like that would send me into psychosis.
Yeah.
Yes, that is the point. So conspiracy theorists claim that this push for this 440 hertz, what we just heard, I'm going to call that, if the other frequency is the God frequency, that's the devil frequency. So conspiracy theorists say that the devil frequency was this frequency that was found by Nazi propaganda minister Joseph Goebbels, who supposedly believed that higher pitch created psychological tension in listeners, which, I mean, it kind of seems like it does, right?
Yeah, holy shit. That makes me think of like psyops and stuff that people would do in battle back then, just doing anything and everything to make someone crack, you know? And they would play all kinds of stuff on like loudspeakers.
Yes, and it's not hard to make somebody crack when they're like already on the fucking anxious edge because they are, oh my God, sorry. I was like trying to play this Nazi propaganda and it started playing while I was talking and it was like German propaganda. Like, yeah, I need to just play this, guys, because I can't think straight now. That has entered my brain. I don't even remember what I was saying before
He
that
brainwashed
happened.
you.
Oh my God.
It reset. It definitely did a hard reset on my joy center. For sure.
Something. Okay, so this is Joseph Goebbels. This is called Goebbels Propaganda Film on Jews, and this is by @Epic Encyclopedia. There is a trigger warning here, guys. This is going to be fucked up shit. All right, so if you don't want to see fucked up shit, because this is literally Nazi propaganda, then skip ahead 1 minute.
In 1933, Joseph Goebbels used this film as propaganda against the Jews.
Nach dem Kriege ergossen sich die Heuschreckenschwärme der Ostjuden über das deutsche Land. Sie trugen ihren zersetzenden Einfluss in die Kreise des deutschen Handels. Sie vergewaltigten auch die deutsche Kultur, zersetzten die Literatur, verunstalteten die Wissenschaft an den Hochschulen, verunglimpften die deutsche Kunst, machten sich die deutsche Presse hörig, beuteten den Bauer und Arbeiter aus auf allen Lebensgebieten des deutschen Volkes.
This twisted view of Germany as a victim of its Jewish communities.
So, I know Allie, it irks Allie when there's like background sad piano music playing over historical films, but I didn't want to pay royalties on that. And we needed some media to break up the heavy talking in this episode. So sorry, Allie.
It's fine. Now, so Goebbels, is that his name? Goebbels or
I've been
Gables?
calling him Gerbils. I think it's Gorbels or something.
Let's do
Yeah,
Gerbils. Let's just disrespect him because he doesn't deserve to have his name pronounced correctly. So
Exactly.
so Mr. Gerbils, he's hanging out trying to find some good propaganda and he decides, I'm going to change, according to this conspiracy theory, I'm going to change the standard hertz to make it
frequency.
as uncomfortable as possible for everyone.
Right. Yeah. Now, historians say that there's no evidence of that, and I did watch a few different YouTube videos who were like basically like laying out the timeline, and they were like, you know, it wasn't like this grand scheme plan where he was like, yeah, we're gonna do this to like make everybody sad. But then I saw other YouTube videos where I was like, I don't know, like it's kind of seeming like it's all fitting together, puzzle pieces. So I don't know. I'm just telling you guys what the popular theories are surrounding the God frequency in this episode. But that is a very popular rumor. So if you want to learn more about that, there's a whole other rabbit hole you can dive into that's about like the Nazi propaganda side of this. But what I was more interested in, because that's we like to get haunted here. So is that conspiracy theorists also noticed something between 435 and 440 hertz, which was about where everyone was playing music at this time after the standard was made or whatever. There's another number, and it's 432 hertz, and that is the God frequency. And it is a number that shows up in very strange places, in mathematical ratios, in ancient architecture measurements. It's the supposed diameter relationships of the sun and the moon. And this is where conspiracy explodes into something even weirder, because people say that 432 hertz is mathematically woven into the universe itself. And what do I mean by that? I wasn't quite sure. So I watched this YouTube video.
I was not ready for that. I was like, she's going to tell me.
Yeah.
I watched a YouTube video to help me kind of see what was talking about. So I'm going to play that for you guys here. But first, I'm going to give you some more anecdotes. Okay. So in Hindu cosmology, the Kali Yuga lasts 432,000 years. The diameter of the sun is roughly 864,000 miles, which is 2 times 432,000. Norse mythology describes 432,000 warriors in Valhalla. And some researchers claim ancient temples were built using ratios connected to 432. So we are starting to wonder, as we are drinking the Kool-Aid here right now, did these ancient societies understand resonance? Was that their way of saying, hey, we understand 432 hertz, this vibration that the whole world is operating at, which we're calling the God frequency, but it's not just a sound, it's a vibration, it's movement. Did ancient civilizations understand this? And if they did understand it, how? Like, how would they know that, And maybe they didn't. Maybe they didn't have the perfect number for it, but they were just like, well, something came to me. There's definitely 432,000 warriors in Valhalla, I don't, that's what I'm saying. It's like, is it just a coincidence?
I mean, if you want to get
32,000 warriors seems like a very random number.
Yeah, if you want to get mystical about it, there's that whole concept of we're all intertwined together, and you might do something subconsciously, not realizing what you're actually doing, but because you're connected to this enlightened, heightened entity, that's why you did it. You were compelled to do it.
Yeah, and it could even be maybe even simpler than that, where it's like, okay, we know we need to eat food to live. Nobody taught us that. We are hungry from the moment we're born. Maybe it's like the spiritual hunger craves the number 432 on all levels and all hobbies.
And it just pops up. You don't even know why you chose 432. It just happens.
It could be. 432, I mean, that's descending numbers. Maybe it just sounds good.
Is 432 also how you say I love you on a cell phone?
No, that's 143.
God damn it.
You're like, the whole thing's ruined.
Yeah.
Now we're stopping the episode.
But, I mean, I do love aliens, as everybody knows who listens to this show. And one of the theories about how humans came to be is that we are a cargo cult, meaning the aliens created us or put us here, or maybe we were here independently of them, but they visited at some point. We didn't understand what we were seeing, and so we turned it into religion, or we took some of those lessons and created our own code of conduct, if you will, for humanity to follow, because there are a lot of the same rules across different religions and cultures and continents and countries. And so maybe if we go with that theory, one of the aliens that came down and encountered all of these different cultures gifted the ancient population this 143 hertz God resonant. Sorry, 432 hertz God resonance, or whatever you were calling it. Maybe that's what happened, and that's why so many different people are drawn to it.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. I'm on that boat. I think it was this enlightened thing. And maybe the people who initially received that message knew it was enlightened, but because we're all connected, that number stayed across the world because people, I don't know, were connected subconsciously. They didn't know why they were doing it.
Right. Yeah, it's I fall into those rabbit holes sometimes on TikTok where it's here's a cave painting from Peru and here's a cave painting from Northern Ireland, and they were done in the exact same time period. It looks like the exact same entity, but there's no way these two cultures could have crossed or should have crossed in order to come up with that same mythology. So yeah, why not apply that to sounds as well?
So there is a possibility that maybe the temples, the chants, and the instruments that were deliberately tuned to frequencies that aligned with the natural vibrations of the communities around them were using sound technology long before modern science. And if that kind of sounds insane, consider this. Scientists today use somatics to visualize sound. When sand is placed on a vibrating metal plate and exposed to specific frequencies, it does form perfect geometric shapes. And different frequencies create different patterns in the sand because sound literally organizes matter. So now we're going to watch another video that's going to blow your mind. Okay, everybody hang on to their panties right now. So this is by a channel called @Seeing Into the Unknown, and the video is called The Sound Om Cymatics. And for those of you who don't know, Om is a very spiritual sound through many different cultures and religions. It is respected as a frequency that connects you to God and is used in chants and is used in spiritual enlightenment and meditation practices.
The sound Om at 136.1 hertz is supposed to resonate with humans, creating a deep sense of calm and balance. Let's take a look at it.
So he's setting down, I think it's like a piece of metal onto like a plate that vibrates, and I think it's maybe filled with some type of liquid. Is that right, Nat? And then it's vibrating?
There's like an eyedropper, and he's putting liquid in.
And then when it vibrates, it's creating this really cool geometric rotating pattern. And the sound is very calming, very peaceful.
It almost looks like a mandala or mandala. How do you pronounce it? Pattern that you like can color to meditate. Sacred geometry.
Sacred geometry. Yes. Okay, so here's where shit gets crazy. I'm going to jump ahead a little bit because we're fucking here already. Okay, we got too smart for this episode. Doesn't it kind of look like a fucking, like, Catholic Gothic window, like in Notre Dame or something like that, where they make those, like,
the stained
beautiful
glass.
Yes, stained glass, or like just Gothic architecture in general had like all of these little designs and geometric shapes and things like that.
Yeah, I could see that for sure when it's rotating.
So sound literally organizes matter, and now we're gonna watch another little video. I am like the substitute teacher that just like comes in with that roll on. You know what I'm talking about?
Yeah, we're gonna watch a video.
Yeah. I'm like, thank you for visiting. Let's Get Haunted. You're gonna watch a video today. Because they just do such a better job of explaining. And honestly, I want to give weird people a platform, even though some of these channels are definitely bigger than ours. I want a platform. People who are talking about the God frequency, okay?
It's also reminding me, have you guys seen Invasion on Apple?
No.
Okay, you would love it. It's about aliens invading Earth, and it's an Apple TV show, and there's specific scenes where every time the aliens show up, the sand or water or whatever is nearby will start vibrating, and it creates like this perfect, like concentric circles.
Ooh.
Yeah,
that makes sense. Okay, so yes, this video by @Scott Von Helt called The Power of Sound is going to hit on that exact idea here. Let's give it a listen.
Applied the same technique and studied the cymatic patterns displayed when bells chimed within the structures. Look at the patterns. Magnetrons. This is why so many magnificent rose windows resemble cymatic patterns so closely. This is why they look like the petrified pulsations of a star. The entire ceilings of many cathedrals also mirror this sacred cymatic geometry. This is why so many of the structures contain huge bells and chiming clocks. The tolling bells would emit powerful vibrations and frequencies and influence an entire...
Yeah, that just about made me lose my goddamn mind the first time I saw it. So I cannot talk about that. You guys got to talk about that one.
Go ahead,
I was laughing because there's just a caption that pops up with like a smiling emoji and a thumbs up, and it says "Question everything, friends," which is like such an ominous thing to say while you're smiling and giving a thumbs up. I also love that the way that guy was talking. He's just like, and then the sacred geometry. I don't know. It was just like way too loud. Like his microphone was blowing my back out. But good for him. So yeah, it basically what we were looking at is a compilation of different clips of different old architecture in I would describe it, I mean, to me, when I see something like that, that just reminds me of Catholicism. I don't know if there's anything else that maybe Catholicism was copying, but to me, it just reminds me of going into a big cathedral and you look up and there's these beautiful geometric patterns. Sometimes they're literally like plastered onto the ceiling. Sometimes they're painted onto the ceiling. Sometimes it's a pattern comprised of different windows or pieces of glass panels. But yeah, I mean, it's very, very beautiful, and it does mimic the patterns that water and I guess sand as well make when these frequencies play. And it sounds to me, as like an untrained ear, it sounds like the frequency that you would hear in a cathedral anyway, from the bell and the bell tower swinging back and forth and ringing.
It makes me wonder if like they just, when you go into a church and they sometimes have like a bowl of water for you to like wipe your face with, or what like a holy water bowl. I wonder if someone had a bowl of water or something out like at the top of the bell tower, or noticed when, oh shit, like the organ is playing this note. Look at what the water's doing.
Yeah, they could have. They could have. I mean, if you think about it, again, I know we already talked about this, but they really didn't have a lot of forms of entertainment, ancient people. So, like, what did you have? You could play some sort of sport. You could try not to die. I think that was probably the main thing. But, like, yeah, you play a sport, or you
drink.
You drink, you etch something onto the wall of a cave, you smack a stick on something and hope that it sounds pleasing to you. So my point is, you had a lot of time to figure things out and look around you and look at your surroundings. So yeah, I think it could be possible that there's just some dude living in a bell tower, Quasimodoing his life away. He doesn't have a TV. He doesn't have a lady friend or a man friend. And so he's just chilling up there in his chair, and once every half hour he rings a bell. What do you do the rest of the time? Maybe you have, your bowl of soup or stew, and every time you ring the bell, you're like, wait a minute, is that doing something for me?
Mm-hmm.
And the answer is yes, it was.
He's figuring shit out. He's running experiments.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, he was connecting with his sacred geometry. Okay, so the next thing is like all this mathematical stuff, like they were like, oh, and also like this, if you cube this and do this, it's a perfect ratio, and like I didn't really know what they were talking about, so I decided to take this YouTube class by Jane 108 Academy called Sacred Geometry 432, a deep dive, which is the #1 sacred geometry class website online show, guys, if you didn't know that. Okay, Jane 108. So I really want to say thank you to this lovely man, and also, sure, I don't like, we're gonna listen to what he has to say, and you guys, if anyone here is good at math, tell me if this is true or not, or if this is even relevant, if it's true. Like,
It's
maybe
just
it's
like
not.
totally fake. It's not. It's real.
It seems very real to me. Okay, here we go.
Welcome to my insights into harmonic 432. I've been doing a lot of research over the last 4 decades on the connection between the speed of light harmonic, which is 144 cycles per second or hertz, and how 144 speed of light is connected to the mysteries of 432. So this chart that I've put together here, the title is Harmonic 432 and its connection to the 144 constant. C always represents the constant, and C is actually the symbol for light. And to understand this sequence, there is a mathematical underpinning or foundation, and just the seed for this whole creation is based on the number 27, because this is called a doubling sequence. It's kind of like a binary code. So when we keep doubling 27, 27, 54, 108, 216, 432, you'll see that 432 is divisible by 27, so it's a starting point. So just to begin this inquiry into the mystical nature of 432, I want to start on 27. So we know that in ancient India, they had the 27 nakshatras. So the 27 was the lunar mansions. So these were the sectors along the ecliptic. So the ecliptic is where the sun rises as an imaginary circle as it rises and sets. So that's called the ecliptic. And this was published in ancient Vedic texts called the Vedanga Jyotisha, and it was predicting the Hellenistic or the Greek astronomy, which was around the 2nd century AD. So this is ancient knowledge, and it's all going back to the seed principle of 27. 27 is also interesting because we have this a chart here. I'll just show you quickly a chart of cosmic vibrations. This is from the Rosicrucian order. So this is from San Jose in California. It's a very rare chart I've had for 30 years. And all it is that it's a doubling 2, 4, 8, 16, 32. It goes forever into the billions and trillions and quadrillions. So this is an analysis of the powers of 2. But when we take away the powers of, when we take away number 9 from each of these numbers, we end up with a sequence called 1, 2, 4, 8, 7, 5. I'll just point to that. So 1, 2, 4, 8, 7, 5. And if you added up these 3 columns, it adds up to 9, 9, 9, or the sum of those 6 infinitely repeating numbers of the sequence 1, 2, 4, 8, 7, 5 is 27. So 27 is at the core of this inquiry.
Okay, I just want to pause for a second. Because I want you guys to know that's literally what math class sounds like to me.
I love this man. I think that he has a lot of enthusiasm and passion. I love that he made his own chart. I think that he is super dope. At first, I was skeptical when he was just ringing his bell. I was like, what's
cool
this
guy.
man about? But he's very sweet and earnest. I do love when people have passions.
Yeah,
He's
he
a
does seem
passionate
very
man.
passionate. Yeah, I also can relate to Nat because the first thing I was thinking of, I was like, I feel like how I felt when I was in my college physics class where I'm like trying so hard to listen and understand. And I'm just like, I don't know. I feel like I would have to listen to that video like 50 times and then like Google a bunch of stuff. But he's very compelling. So I am inclined to believe the man. I mean, what do I know?
But
Also,
what is he telling
27
us?
is the day I was born, so I think 27 is definitely a great number.
Oh my God. It gets even thicker. I knew it. She was
I am
compromised
the
from
God
start.
frequency.
Wow. Yeah, so this guy, like, he has all these classes, and I mean, he seems like he knows what he's talking about. Look, I'm going to distill it down. I'm going to assume that what this man is saying is that there is a lot of cultural significance behind the number 432. That's what I took from this. So what ends up happening is that people start to realize that sound can be weaponized because we know that it can. Governments have absolutely researched sound as a weapon. There's infrasound, which are frequencies below human hearing, that has been studied for decades. We've even done some episodes on it before. And we know that at certain levels, frequency below human hearing can cause anxiety, nausea, dread, hallucinations. Some people even will think that there's a ghost in the room if you play infrasound at 19 hertz. There was cases where like a broken fan was in a building and people could not hear the fan, but they could feel the broken like infrasound, whatever it was radiating out, like the vibration. And people thought that the building was haunted because they couldn't consciously understand what it was that they were feeling, but they were feeling movement. And they think that maybe it like vibrates your eyebrows and makes you like see things out of the corner of your eye or something like that. Basically just makes people feel unmoored. And so conspiracy theorists say, hey, if governments knew that they could fuck you up with sound, what if they took away the bells and they took away our ability to connect to the God frequency on purpose to keep us disconnected from each other and to put us in a constant state of unease so that maybe we would be easier to manipulate and control, which I don't know. For me, I feel like when I'm anxious, like you cannot control and manipulate me. Like I will attack. So I don't know about that theory, but I'm curious what you guys think.
I mean, I feel like it's possible. I feel like we talk so much about how divisive everything can be so easily, you know? So nothing would surprise me. There's so many theories that I buy into too, and like conspiracies also that we'll talk about in my episode a little bit too when we record. But a lot of overlap. But basically, I wouldn't be surprised. I feel like there's people who can find any way to make us try to break us down. And I mean, it's not going to affect everybody, but if it affects enough people, then they have that much more control, you know? I don't know. I know that's kind of an ominous way to think, and I'm not saying I 100% believe it, but like if someone were like, yes, this is true, I also wouldn't be surprised.
After the Epstein files, nothing would surprise me anymore. Yeah,
Exactly.
That's the unfortunate thing is like, I feel that prior to the Epstein files being made like known, because even before this last dump of documents, we knew what was going on for years, but prior to that, I feel like I lived in such a blissful bubble of like being able to enjoy conspiracy theories a lot more as like this fun fairy tale suspension of disbelief. And now I'm just like, yeah, could be. They probably are microwaving our brains every day. I don't know. Like, yeah, they probably are playing some sort of Hertz that I can't hear, but that makes me dumber. I mean, that's also like a very convenient way to explain brain fog, which is great. If there is a reason for my brain fog, or for all of our brain fog collectively, that doesn't have to do with hormones and aging, like, yeah, give it to me, because I would rather it be fixable. Like, let's just overthrow the government and now my brain works perfectly.
So there's an even more creepy conspiracy here, which is that maybe it wasn't on purpose, okay? But maybe because humans are vibrational beings, we know for a fact that we are created up of vibrations. Even our molecules are vibrating on a cellular level. That is just known. The universe itself has its own frequency, okay? Everything is constantly moving. And so when people say, like, I just got a bad vibe from that person, maybe there's actually a little bit more scientific truth to that than it seems like when someone's just like, the vibes weren't right. Like, is that actually the smartest person in the room because they're tuned into a frequency? I don't know. But our brains run on electrical rhythms. Our cells resonate with those rhythms. Our bones conduct sound. Music changes your heart rate, your breathing patterns, and emotional states within seconds. It can make crowds riot, or it can make entire rooms be moved to tears. And we willingly expose ourselves to music and sound from other sources of media every single day for hours and hours on end, through headphones, through speakers. Right now, you're listening to us on Let's Get Haunted. It's the invisible architecture of modern life, which means that whether the God frequency theory is true or not, sound is already shaping humanity. So maybe Beethoven, who also had all of his music tuned to 432 hertz, supposedly, according to the conspiracy theory, maybe he knew something that we all have forgotten. And his tuning forks and all of the classical artists who make beautiful music that moves you to tears, that's usually at 432 hertz, maybe they knew about connecting to that God frequency, and we just didn't. And that's why maybe the bells were taken from us, okay? Maybe they weren't taken. Maybe they were taken from us. And now we're going to watch the most unhinged video that I cannot even begin to describe, but it's actually, I got so fucked up on this YouTube channel, and I don't know if this is a good person to platform because I haven't watched the rest of their video. So this actually could be very problematic, but this one particular video was very good. So we're going to listen to it, but I don't want to speak to any of their other videos because I just don't know.
It's by a YouTube channel called Erased Century, and the title of the video is The Frequency They Changed and Why Everything Sounds Wrong.
Before 1711, there was no reliable way to measure pitch. No tuning forks existed, no electronic references, no international standards. Every community on Earth tuned its instruments to whatever the largest local instrument happened to produce, usually the church organ. And organs varied enormously. Two churches in the same city could be tuned a full semitone apart. A musician traveling from Paris to Vienna would need to retune everything upon arrival. This was not chaos. This was the natural state of sound for most of human history. Every place had its own voice. The bells in your village rang at a pitch specific to your village. The organ in your cathedral resonated at a frequency matched to the stone and the space. The choir tuned to the organ. The congregation tuned to the choir. The entire acoustic environment of a community vibrated at frequencies that belonged to that place and nowhere else. We have physical proof of how wildly pitch varied. A tuning fork associated with Handel dated to 1740 vibrates at 422.5 Hz. An unidentified specimen from 1780 sits at 409. Beethoven's fork, around 1800, hits 455.4. That is a span of 46 Hz across 60 years, and these were all prominent musicians working at the centre of European culture. French cathedral organs in the 1800s tuned their A as low as the 370s. The Royal Philharmonic in London swung from 433 to 455 between the 1820s and the 1850s. Highland pipe bands still play today at 470 to 480. The idea that any single frequency was the natural standard before the modern era is a fabrication. There was no standard. There were hundreds of frequencies, each one anchored to a place, a building, a bell. Then governments got involved. In 1700, Tsar Peter the Great confiscated roughly 100,000 church bells across Russia to cast cannons after the Battle of Narva. In 1793, the French Revolution's convention passed a decree on July 23rd. Each parish could keep one bell. Every other bell in France was to be melted. Approximately 100,000 bells from 60,000 steeples were destroyed. During the Franco-Prussian War of 1870 to 1871, the Bishop of Nancy authorized every parish in his diocese to surrender all but one bell for cannon production. In the First World War, 44% of all bells in Germany were confiscated or destroyed. December 6, 1929. The Soviet government forbade all bell ringing and ordered every bell in the nation melted for industrial bronze. 99% of Russia's approximately 1 million bells were destroyed. 20 specialized bell foundries closed. The hereditary knowledge of Russian bell founding, passed down through centuries of family tradition, ended. Cathedral acoustics were not accidental. In 2016, researchers at Greek universities used sine wave sweeps to map the acoustic properties of 8 Byzantine churches in Thessaloniki. They found that architects had made deliberate design choices based on sound. Acoustic vases, clay pots, called amphorae, were physically embedded in the walls and domes to amplify specific resonant frequencies. These were not decorations. They were acoustic technology built into the structure itself. At Noyon Cathedral in France, researchers discovered an underground chamber called the caveau phonocamptique, an array of acoustic vases installed beneath the floor of the crossing. It was designed as a monumental amplifier. Medieval builders selected limestone and crystalline stones, specifically because those materials conduct and amplify sound waves. Gothic cathedrals produce reverberation times of 5 to 8 seconds. Orthodox churches range from 1.5 seconds for a village chapel to 6 seconds for a cathedral. Those buildings were designed as instruments. The stone, the vaulting, the proportions, the embedded vases in the walls, all of it was calibrated to amplify specific frequencies. The bells rang at those frequencies. The organ was tuned to the bells. The choir was tuned to the organ. For centuries, the entire building hummed in a unified resonance. Stone amplifying bronze, amplifying voice, amplifying stone.
This guy starts spinning fucking off the rails, and he starts talking about how the bell technology was lost because, like, you had to know how to make a bell to make, like, the perfect sound that it resonated at the frequency for your village, for your church, and you would tune your bell based on if there were mountains around and how high your bell tower was and where the bell was sitting and all this stuff. So it wasn't just like you press a button and the bell plays, okay? You had to, like, tune it to the surroundings, and it was actually, like, this very special practice that you had to, like, know about bell smelting and all this stuff, and it was this art that was passed down through generations and generations of insider knowledge, I guess, like oracle tradition or whatever, family tradition, and it was lost because of unfortunate events of war or perhaps something more nefarious. I don't know, but they weren't able to get this knowledge back. And it is kind of interesting because it goes so much deeper than just, oh, they took the bells away. Oh, they took our access to free unlimited energy away. Like, you're taking a specific culture, like a local culture, away from somebody, you know? And I don't know, it's like, it is kind of dark. Like, for the spirit of war, like, are we feeding a demon by, like, taking away our ability to connect with the God frequency? I don't know. I don't know, how deep does it go? Does it go all the way to the Epstein files? Like, were there bells on the island? Is that where all the bells are now?
He was definitely listening to some nefarious frequency. I am certain of it. But earlier when you were talking about how our bodies, like our molecules or atoms, vibrate, I creeped myself out because I'm researching a topic right now about people who claim that they have encountered people that presented as human but were aliens, like masquerading as humans. And it got me thinking, what if the aliens, in an attempt to disguise themselves as humans, are vibrating at a slightly different frequency? And so, like, their atoms, their molecules, whatever, are vibrating at a slightly different frequency. And when that frequency gets disrupted, the camouflage temporarily drops, and you see that the person is actually an alien. And then it goes back up, and then the camouflage goes back up. And I got so scared. I got so fucking scared thinking about it. But maybe very perceptible people who are really good, there's people with quote unquote perfect pitch, or a person where you make a noise and they can tell you exactly, what hertz or whatever you're speaking in. Maybe there are people that also have that ability, but in visual form. So they see the vibration and it's slightly off and they're like, there's something not right about that person. I don't know. And I love that. I just love being creeped out about alien stuff. So that got me excited.
Yeah, that's one of the things I keep coming back to with this is the potential for alien contact. And that's why we had that frequency in the first place. But I don't know. It sounds like, music is such a heightened, amazing experience. I don't know. I feel like an idiot right now. I don't know the term for it, but I know synesthesia is where you hear music and you can describe it as a color. But there's another kind where it's you feel music throughout your body and it's very deep and intense. I feel like I have that, but I don't know the term for it. I've heard people describe that before. Do you guys know what I'm talking about?
Yeah, I definitely have heard of that before too, and it would make a lot of sense that you have it because this is your profession, in a sense, right? You're in the.
I was gonna say, sorry, Allie, keep talking.
Oh,
I was
that's
gonna
okay.
say, do you also have ADHD? But that was a very ADHD thing of me to just interrupt her in the middle of a conversation. Sorry.
I don't have ADHD. I am left-handed, and I know there's some debate on that, but they say lefties are more creative or musical or something. I don't know. But I wouldn't be surprised. Music has such a powerful effect on people, so I think it's haunted. And there's also a term that I was thinking of too, and I'm forgetting the name of it again, but I think it's called the Devil's Three, something like that, where it's the same progression of chords over and over again that they'll use a lot in horror movies, and it's meant to incite doom because they're dissonant. And we
three
talked
goes
about
into
that.
27 or something.
I think it's 3 chords. I might be remembering this wrong, but
wait,
music is, that's the whole thing with music, is that it's patterns. So it makes sense to me.
Music is math.
Music is math. It literally is.
So, yeah, if we wanted to go full, if we just wanted to go full in, you could say, yes, Allie, that there are nefarious aliens, perhaps, or entities that are controlling us with frequencies and sound and mathematics. And that's so scary to me because it seems kind of true. Now, last nefarious thing I'm going to say before we log off here is I want everyone to realize that after we took away the fucking bells from everybody, okay, your family history of how to calm people down through spiritual release and your bell ringing is gone now. We destroyed that from the earth. They started every hour just playing the tune, a tune for people to tune their instruments to. So back in the 50s or whatever, you could radio turn to the broadcast, whatever radio was broadcasting out, and it would just be every hour they would have a minute or a little bit of time where they just play that standardized pitch, and all of the communities in the area could tune their instruments to that pitch. And so if this is true, if you do control people with a frequency, what better way to do that and then to be everybody tune your instruments to the standardized devil pitch
Or
Everybody
like when
listen very carefully.
Or like when you get the tornado warnings on your TV, or we interrupt this program, and then at the beginning they play that long note to kind of get your attention. I wonder if I wonder if that frequency, because you know what I'm talking about? It's not just one note. It's like beep, 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 you know what I mean? To catch your attention. And I wonder if that's at a frequency designed to like snap you out of whatever you were doing.
God.
Yeah.
You're
like
telling me the tornadoes are not even real? It was just all to get us to listen to that sound?
Now we're getting into chemtrails. We're just going down a whole rabbit hole here.
Or the Amber Alert tone on your phone.
Yeah.
Something that catches your attention. I don't know. I would just be curious to know, like, what hurts. If there's a devil frequency, if there's a God frequency, what is the frequency to just, like, snap your attention to? I would be interested to know what that is. Because they absolutely have it figured out, because when they're choosing those tones for important emergency alert systems, they need to make I'm sure they've done studies about, like, okay, we put a room of 1,000 people and 20 of them turned their head when we played this sound, but 700 turned when we played this sound. So it seems like the 700 people, they they know something. This is the tone that we need to play. So yeah, I'm sure that there have been things like that where they're just studying what sounds work and what don't. And then I know in an episode we did, my first episode of this year was on the Molyobka Triangle in Russia, and part of that story is about how during the Cold War the Russians were investing millions of dollars into psychotronic weapons, trying to figure out different sounds that could be weaponized. And so in the story of the Molyobka Triangle, which is no time to explain, it's too long to explain, but there's like an area where a lot of weird things happen, and people see a lot of weird things. And one of the skeptic theories is, it's actually a military testing ground. And so they were playing these sounds while they were researching psychotronic weapons during that era, and it caused people to hallucinate or to think that scary things were happening that weren't happening. So yeah, I mean, sound be haunted, I guess, is my point.
Sound be haunted.
Mm-hmm.
Well, Kate, thank you so much for coming on this insane episode of Let's Get Haunted, and thank you for providing your professional insight into this God frequency bell gate. Would you like to do our sign off for the episode? And just in case you didn't know, do you know how to do the sign off? You just do a callback to something else that was in the episode. Like, you'll say BRB gotta go, callback. So you could be like, BRB gotta go ring the bells in the church tower, and then we'll all say bye.
Okay, perfect. Okay, BRB gotta go listen to some church bells now.
Bye.
Hey guys, it's Nat. Welcome to the closing credits for episode 252. The God frequency? Honestly, don't know what I'm going to call this one yet, so if it changes, think of this as like you're getting an inside peek behind the curtain. This month, we would love to give a warm, heartfelt thank you to all of our Patreon donors who donated it to us in the month of December 2025, letters N through Z. If you would like to be a donor and hear your name shouted out on a future episode, all you have to do is go to patreon.com/C/Let's Get Haunted and sign up for tier 1 or tier 2 to receive all kinds of episode extras, including vlogs, live streams, slideshow presentations, and whatever else haunted lore we come up with. This week, we would like to thank Naomi, Naomi RH, Natalie C, Natalie G, Natasha M, Natasha, Nat's Nut Button, Nicholas M, Nick U, Nikki S, Nicole A, Nicole L, Nikki B, Nilza Not a Cat, seems like you're a cat, Occult C, Olivia S, Oscar M, Owl Bear of Oracle, Padaka and Sani, Parker L,
C. Pascal, Patricia Militia, Paula M, Peter Barker, aka Camry G, Phantom P, Phoebe, Phoebe O, Phoenix C, PL, Kwang L M, Rachel, Rachel O, Rachel, Rachel M, Rachel T, Ray M, Rayleigh R, Rebecca B, Rebecca H, Red M, Renee, Ria Bobia, Richard O, Rita S, River, Rob D, Rob L, Robert K, Robert W, Robin B, Rory L, Rose M, Roxanne B, Ruben P, Ruby V, Sam P, Samantha H, Samantha P, Sarah W, Sarah D, Sarah J, Sarah L, Sarah R, Sarah Z, Savannah S, Sav H, Scamantha, Selena F, Set D, Shane, Shania Z, Sean, Sean H, Shay L, Shelby E, She's Not Here, formerly Al H, Sid from the Bronx, Slamper Sand, Sleepy Dryad, Sleepy Siren, Slug Bunny, Smokin' Void, Soggy Q-Tips, Sophie, Spencer, Steph M, Sue T, Sugar Bread, Summer J, Summer L, Sweet A, T H, T Heart, Tabby Justice, Tay M, Tajakester, Tanya, Tara J, Taryn C, Taryn K, Tosh, Taylor J, Taylor M, Tegan M, The Ratmans, Tiana RQ, Tobacco J, Tracy, Tsunami Sammy, Tyler B, Erd F, Valerie R, Valeria R, Valpal, Vara M, Veronica W, Victor, Victor A, Victor C, Victoria L, Wadget, Wayne C, William A, Wonk Bunny, Y2NLA, Yas A, Yeti, and Yvonne R. Thank you guys so much for being patrons. We could not do this without you guys. We have so much fun making Patreon content, including all of our weekly personal hauntings. It's been a busy few months to start this year off, but we're really looking forward to see where the year is going to take us with you guys, the haunties. We're on the same haunted ride that you guys are on, and we're all just trying to figure it out one step at a time. Now, it's time for the secret password. The secret password is a phrase that you can enter into the Spotify comments on this episode, onto the Instagram photo dump comments, or onto the YouTube comments. And if you hit the trifecta, meaning you comment on all three, you get 3 points into our raffle at the end of the year, where you're gonna get a special prize. And last year, people got a custom engraved Stanley cup with custom art. All right. Literally, they got the equivalent of a painting in the Louvre, because like one of a kind, 6 of a kind, whatever. The secret password for this episode is they took the bells. They took the bells. They took the bells. You got to say it like you're fucking gonna fuck someone up too. Like, they took the motherfucking bells, bitch. They took the fucking bells. Okay. Sorry. Sorry. Okay, bye. Love you, bitch.